So
They
what's
cannot...
going on? Start with like
Well,
where in the world you are.
I'm in Mumbai, and yes, this is the lobby of my wonderful hotel, but not for so long more because I'm leaving to Prague and then finally back to LA on in like an hour. But I'm not sure if I'm leaving in an hour because there's like sideways rain outside,
Oh,
and it will be interesting for the flights. But maybe they're used to it around here because I think it does rain a lot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So and
yeah.
why were you there? You
I'm here and I'm sweating also. I'm here because I was in Bangalore the last few days with a short film that I directed. My tiny little 6-minute post-COVID script that I wrote during COVID, and then decided since I wrote it and I wrote a whole bunch of other things during COVID, I should also put it to screen. So I shot it and edited it with a whole bunch of AFI alums from like 8 different countries, which is really cool. Um,
love
and
that.
it's gotten into a bunch of festivals. I think we had a premiere at LA Shorts, and it was invited to the Bangalore International Short Film Festival, which was interesting because it's Oscar qualifying. So I came, uh, got the special mention, but did not get the first prize, which is the only one that does the Oscar qualifying thing. But it was
Right.
really fun, and it was great to be in India again, and great to be in India in a capacity where I wasn't, carrying a 40-pound camera on my shoulder running around the world like crazy person, which is normally what I do in India. So
Right.
last year I was running like crazy in Jaipur. Um, and actually, that's the season of Amazing Race that I think I'm nominated for the Emmy this year. I don't know what episode they put in actually. Maybe you do. Maybe
Wait,
you
I
can
can
find
probably
it
pull that up. I thought it was for
because
the
it was
show, but
actually I actually want no. It's always for a specific episode.
oh, okay. Hold on. I'll tell you.
And I'm actually, if I had to bet, I think it's one of the India episodes, which was in Rajasthan, in Jaipur.
I mean it
So
I'm
this
with
would be an interesting circle. It would be like we've come all the way around, different state. Sorry, because what you realize when you get to India, it's like lots and lots of different cultures and states and languages and diversity on a platter every day.
yeah,
To us it's all India, but in India it's not like that at all.
right. Wait, and did you that was last year you shot that?
Yeah, we shot that last year in June 2023. So that would be the season we were no, for the
Yeah.
nomination. And if I remember it correctly, the episode that they submitted, because you have to always submit one, was the one that we shot in Rajasthan.
Oh, well, that's kind of perfect, huh? Here's the thing on
Yeah.
IMDb, it just says The Amazing Race, and it says last year it says for series body of work, but then the year
Yeah.
before it's a specific episodes. So I don't know if they've
But
changed the
serious
criteria.
serious body of work was an episode. That's the name of an episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Well, then
this year, if you
maybe
look at the Emmys, if you look at the Emmys
that the
website, it
actual
will
Emmy nominations.
it
Okay.
will have the name.
Okay. So you've been there before. Wait, I got to
I've
ask
been
you
to
because
India many times. Yes,
you
many,
showed
many
a
times.
your film that you directed that you showed there is a comedy. And
It's a
comedy,
satire.
it's a satire.
It's
Oh, well,
really,
that's even more
yeah.
subtle.
Hmm.
Comedy doesn't always necessarily travel internationally, right? So how did it play?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. It was actually a really cool festival because I would say I saw 20 films, maybe 25 short films, and mine was definitely the one that was the least serious of them all. All of the other ones were very, very serious. There were some that were funny, kind of in the way they were made, but they were still about very serious issues. I guess mine, to a point, is also about some serious issues, but mainly mine is about just like how refreshing and wonderful it is when we realize that it's just nice to be nice to each other. Um, and the characters kind of get to that point through those little 6 minutes. And there's a comedic, satiric, kind of Kafkaesque style to it. Uh, and definitely brings out a few laughs, and almost the other films are very dramatic. So yeah, I don't know. I guess they just liked it. They just thought it was funny.
No, what you did two smart things in making this is your first directorial effort, right?
Yeah, I did like a smaller thing. I went to Maine to the directing workshop there, and I did something there, but it was more of an exercise that I turned into a little film. I never really did anything with that. But so this one,
Yeah.
Ballet, is the real first sort of directing thing. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
sure if you can call 6 minutes directing, but
Uh,
I guess so. I mean, it
For
was it
sure
wasn't
you
easy.
can. For sure you can. That's what I was going to say is you were smart in that you made it short, which is very
Yeah,
attractive to film festivals. And you made a comedy, which is also like a short comedy. They love that because they can just put it in between the real heavy films and everyone
yeah,
needs a break, right? And then people love your
yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, everybody needs a break. It's true.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And you're going to do more, right? You got the directing bug.
Well, I tremendously enjoy cinematography and the collaboration of it in the directing world. I definitely will do more. I have a couple more short scripts and a long script that need a bit more attention and more money than what the little one that did. Um, but directing is not easy because you're like the steward of everybody, and particularly when you're doing it with no money, it's like you really have to like just be on top of everybody, saying, okay, when do you think you will have it ready? And as soon as one thing sort of pushes by few days, all of a sudden it's a domino effect where everybody pushes, and something that you thought would be done in 5 days all of a sudden becomes 2 or 3 months. And then cinematography is very intense and short in a way because you're coming in for a week or 2 weeks or 3 months or whatever period it is. But unless you're you know working on Christopher Nolan's next movie, you're probably your biggest commitment is about 3 months. And that there's something really intense and wonderful about that part, and also the collaboration that you have with the director, because you're really in a supporting role of the director and the script and the story and the characters that are in the story. So your job as a cinematographer is to really sort of be there for the characters of your film and to support the director's vision. And there's something really creative about that because it sort of it sets these boundaries that you have, and from that you can sort of take off and run with it. And you have this sort of amazing partner in the director where you're like, hey, I was thinking about this. What do you think? Do you think that would work for you? Oh no, okay. What about something else? Where in the directing, you're like, sort of alone on top of the hill, sort of hoping everything will happen.
Well, you
So
should
they're
have,
definitely two
but
different things. I enjoy both of them, but I
yeah,
there's no way I will be like, okay, I'm director now. I really like shooting and being a cinematographer.
but you should have had that director, that cinematographer for you to rely on as a director, right? That you could bounce ideas off of, and
Yeah, I did. I mean,
yeah,
Antonio, who was from my class, shot the film. Um, but it's not, I said the shooting part, the being on set part is actually like not the hardest part. I felt it was the post production and all of those steps afterwards that were new to me, and sort of just took too much longer than I thought they would. What I
yeah,
really enjoyed was working with the actors. I mean, just having that sort of privilege to be in a position to mold the characters with the actors. That's really cool. That's something that you don't really get to do as a cinematographer. Um, you don't cross that line.
yeah,
And it was fun because they it's a acting is such a craft, and being and able to work on that with them based on what the script called for. And it's a pretty character heavy script.
yeah,
So that was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot.
yeah. It's really fun.
Yeah,
And if anyone's watching
yeah.
this, you got to go see it. I don't know who's watching this right
Okay.
now, but
Yeah, I don't know.
wherever this ends up, we'll cut a
It's
clip
called
in.
ballet.
We'll cut in a
Ballet.
clip.
It's called ballet. You have to. I don't know. Well, I think now the festival thing is kind of over, so I'm just going to figure out where to put it, where it's YouTube or Instagram or
Yeah,
someplace where people can
yeah, you
just
should.
watch it. Yeah, yeah.
Should. Wait, so you were a cinematographer, and then
Hmm.
you got into The Amazing Race, and then you went to AFI, and then you went back.
Hmm.
I'm doing like the very broad strokes, right?
Yeah,
You went to AFI. You had already done The Amazing Race for 3 seasons. Your first season, you won an Emmy,
not quite. No, I think it was my mm,
or maybe it
probably
wasn't your
third or
first.
fourth season.
Oh, okay.
Because the first season I was like this kid who didn't even know what Amazing Race was. In New York, I had no idea what the show was. I just came to do a job in New York for a week. And then I realized what it was, and I was like, wait a second, this is something that I really enjoy. And love traveling, and I've always loved traveling. I grew up in communism in Czechoslovakia, and it was a place where you could not travel. You couldn't go ever anywhere. And my favorite book was The Atlas of the World, because I just figured, um, if I can't travel, and when you grow up in communism, you don't ever think it's going to change, and all of a sudden you'll be fine. It was like, no, this is here forever, and my life is closed in this little place, and maybe I can go to a couple of the other communist countries, but that's it. So why not make the World Atlas your favorite book? And instead of studying chemistry or physics, I would have the World Atlas, and I had the books of the physics and the chemistry around it. So when I heard my parents coming to my room, I would just push them on top of the World Atlas so they wouldn't see what I was really doing. But as soon as they left, it was like, let me go to China and study the rivers and figure out the desert of Australia, and see the Amazon and all of that. So
That's hilarious. That's your version of like a Playboy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
The forbidden thing you can't do is look at
the
other
forbidden
countries.
thing.
Yeah.
No, no, I mean they were fine with me looking at other countries. You just want me to study the other stuff I was supposed to be
Right.
doing, but I
Oh, right,
didn't
right, right.
care. All I wanted to do was just to travel, at least with the finger on my map. And so when communism ended and things opened up, I was like, I'm off, and I haven't really stopped since. And it's been more than 30 years. So Amazing Race, when that came up and I realized what the show actually was, I was like, this is like somebody made this for me. And I mean, the fact that it's a reality show, it was, to me, it was a story of characters experiencing a journey around the world, in a competitive environment that actually helps give it a story and a drama and a plot and all of those things that happened along the way. And yeah, I was like, this is amazing. I need to be doing this. And I think maybe after 3 or 4 seasons, I was included, because it wasn't easy to be included, because at that time, I think now it's different. They changed it, so you see that there's 12 names under the camera department. When I first started, it was only five, so it was the five most senior camera people that they had, and it was very difficult to break into those five. After maybe 3 or 4 of my seasons, they changed it and they did allow to include everyone, and that's when I was nominated for the first time. That's when I won. And since then, they've kind of gone back and forth. Sometimes it's gone back to the five, then it went back to the 11, then it went to a team and all of that. Now it's back to the larger number. But, I've stayed nominated most of the years, but never won again. So, yeah, I would say if you're ever nominated the first time and you win, enjoy it tremendously, because you may never,
Yeah, you've got
it
this is
never
your
might never
10th
happen again.
this is your
Is
10th
it?
nomination.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
But at
no,
least I
okay.
have that one. I have that one statue. So I'm not the guy who has been nominated forever and is never going to get it.
Yeah, yeah, but you got it out of the way early. You've already forgotten
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
It's over. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that statue
So
needs
by
a
then,
partner. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's well, I have special mention from Bangalore Film Festival. So I'm going to put that next to the
Well, you
Emmy.
also have Camerimage for your thesis film. You have the ASC award, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a no. I was the finalist, yeah, for the Harry
Finals.
Savides
Yeah.
SC award, and the Camerimage. I was a finalist there, but didn't win. I have the best college camera operator for the SOC, and a couple of awards for um, some feature films I've done since AFI, from Milano, from Nice, for something for TAMARA, something for Dunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So I was
But
looking it up.
yeah, yeah.
2005 you started. So 19 years you've been. You grew up on The Amazing Race.
I didn't grow up watching The Amazing Race, but I grew up
No, but you grew up.
basically.
You said you
I'm now
started
the
at
oldest.
you were
Yeah, I was.
like 18. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know. I was. Yeah, I must have been about 27.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
now or 28 or something like that. Because it's yeah, I've been doing it for 20 years. 28. I just did my 28th season, and I'm the oldest serving cinematographer, cameraman on the camera person on The Amazing Race, along with another guy, Alan. Kind of the now become the old guys.
What does that mean though? Does
But
that mean like you are the mentor? You like train the new people that come on?
I mean, people ask questions, but it's not official in any way.
Yeah.
Because the role is whether you have done it 20 years, so you've started today, still, you get the assignment is the same. You get a team, which is a couple, for pre-existing relationships, whether it's romantic couple or husband or wife or brother or sister or best friends. And then you sort of get the privilege of being the storyteller of their journey for whatever that episode happens to be, whether it's a day, two, or sometimes three when there's travel involved. And then it's up to you how you photograph it, how you capture it, how you tell the story of their relationship, of the relationship they have with the world, with the people around them, with the other teams, the drama that comes with it, the highs, the lows, the adrenaline, the winnings of the different tasks, or losing usually is the more interesting. And that's totally up to you. So whether you started today, you still have to do that and do that job perfectly. Um, just like I would if I started 20 years ago. At the end, maybe somebody says, "Oh, I was in the situation. What should I have done? What should I do?" I might have a suggestion, but the truth is, like, it's Amazing Race is totally real. There is no repeating anything ever. Like it's like the steadfast rule. Like if I miss a shot of somebody walking out of the door, I can never ask those people to go back and do it again because it's a competition and it's on a clock. So if I do that, I'll literally be fired. I don't know how I'll be fired, but yeah, probably. Um, but it's like I can never slow them down. So I can never say stop. I can never say do it again. I can never say go back. I can never say slow down, wait for me. I have to keep up, and whatever happens, I have to get in that first take and get it perfectly. And if I miss it, I have to be like, okay, I missed that one, but I'll get something similar. I'll make up for it. I'll tell the story. I'll remember what it is. Um, so yeah, it's actually really creatively cool because you're alone. It's us and a sound person out there in the world, telling a story of two people in the world, and the world is quite wonderful and
So no
colorful and
producers,
amazing.
no producers in your ear, no director on set. No,
No, no, no.
that's
I mean,
incredible.
at the end of the episode, there are producers who travel along, story producers, obviously. They have, you know, sort of, headsets, and so they follow the story, but there is no walkie talkies and all of that. I mean, obviously, we collaborate at the end of the episode. We talk to each other. We tell them what happened. So they're conducting interviews at the end and all of that. Or they might come up to us and say, "Hey, what happened?" But it's impossible. I mean, we're jumping into taxis. We are running up the hill. We are, taking trains. We're rushing onto the airport. It's just us. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Talk about more about that. How physical this job is.
Well, it's an interesting thing. So it goes to the journey that I've had about starting when I was, I don't know, 28 or something like that, and being a relatively fit person, like pretty athletic. The people who are the cast, they're usually like 23, 25, and incredibly fit, and all they do is exercise somewhere on the beach or wherever they live. And I had to keep up with them, and it was hard. And so now it's like 20 years later, and I'm older, and they're still 23 and perfectly fit. And I still have to keep up with them. It is no different. So it's like, wow, okay, let me do this. It is physical, yeah, yeah. You can, I mean, we're out there, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's it can be 100 degrees. I mean, I remember crossing some crazy bridge in Bangladesh, running next to a rickshaw. They were on a rickshaw that someone was pulling, and I'm running next to them with the camera, like sweat pouring, like everything is wet from sweat. And I mean, you could be doing that, and next day you could be on the plane flying to the Himalayas and being in the snow and running along on ice or whatever it is. It's very physical, yeah. Because there's no stopping them, right? There's never stop. I'm too tired, so I can't anymore. There's no
Yeah.
such a thing. It doesn't exist. I mean,
Yeah.
before you stop them, let's say some on occasion, somebody can get hurt, and you just figure out how to let them run their race. If you can't go anymore, the sound guy will take, or some person will take a small camera, follow them for a bit. You call ahead, you figure it out, but you never ever stop them.
So you've
So
lost, have you ever lost them?
never, no,
Never. Nice.
no, 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 never lost my team. No, doesn't happen.
And it must get hairy. So like you must be in some dangerous situations sometimes, right?
I, you know, I,
I mean,
I'm a very
you've been in
positive
a,
person.
your life is dangerous situations. You've told me some stories in the past, so maybe these aren't that. Maybe these are tame.
Yeah, I mean, the most dangerous was, when my first ever shoot that I've ever done in my life was being an assistant for Czech TV, and I ended up being held hostage by the Russian soldiers in Chechnya. Um, and that was very scary. It was a couple of days of sort of like blindfolded and not knowing what's going to happen, and with lots of guns pointed at you. Um, And so since then, it's like everything has been pretty chill.
Everything's easy after that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I, like I view the world as a wonderful place, and I've never been treated poorly anywhere in the world. And I've been to probably 120, 130 countries, and never really had bad experience. And I think a lot of it has to do with your approach, with how being positive and being respectful of where you are, and just being genuinely interested in what the world is. And like last night I was after dinner, I just went and had an ice cream someplace here in Mumbai that I've just looked up on Google, and I was really really quite tired, and I just sat down, had my ice cream, and these two guys just come from across the street, approach me, and I think a lot of people would be like, oh my god, what do they want, it's kind of a dark street with no one around, and they just sat down next to me and said, you were worried that you were alone, and we just wanted to see if you're okay, and maybe we could talk. And we ended up having like a wonderful half an hour conversation with these two students from the university, and yeah, and they offered to give me a ride home on their moped, and I said, I'll just walk. But yeah, like when it comes to that, like the danger thing, it's and on Amazing Race, it's very, obviously it's a big show for a big network, and the security department is very very tight. So they're really, even if there is a possibility of something, I think we probably never even know about it. There's few times in your career, particularly when you're shooting documentaries, when whatever is happening in front of you is so strong, um, that it makes you cry while you're shooting. And it actually happened to me this season. And it's an amazing feeling. It's something where you're like, wow, I'm really part of something that sort of, even if the camera wasn't here, it's more powerful than the TV show. And I mean, Amazing Race is a reality show, and people feel this way or that way about that. But it's about people, and it's about characters, and it's about their real stories, and how they relate to each other, and the loves and the joys and the disappointments and the joy and the beauty of life. And traveling and being in a tough environment, in a tough situation, brings all that out. And we have the privilege to witness that as storytellers, as sort of frontline storytellers. And that's really cool. Wow, they're coming in with I thought they're coming in with like a plaque behind me.
Oh,
They're
that's
just wandering around.
maybe you won an award at the short film festival.
No, I think there's like a speech or something that's going to happen. So when you ask me how, it would be easy to say, I was really proud because it was a really long run, and I kept up, and sort of got to over the bridge, and they didn't run away from me. But I think the proudest moments are when I realized that the people that I'm following, whether it's Amazing Race, or whether it's a documentary, but whether it's a fiction film, have completely forgot about the fact that there's a camera, and they're just real, and they're just themselves. And I have the privilege to be there and document it and film it. This guy just walking around is very satirical, actually. Seems like he's decided to just like literally going back and forth.
I know, that same guy. He's auditioning for your next comedy over there. Yeah.
Well, actually, it exactly this happened in Valais. We were filming. It was right after pandemic, or somewhat actually still in the pandemic, and we made a poster, because the story is that somebody's coming out of a classical concert, and we made a fake poster that sort of helped explain where he's coming from. And this guy in an orange jacket just sort of wanders into the frame after one of the takes and thinks like, "Oh my God, something's actually happening finally! Like we're out of COVID." And he starts studying the poster to see, what music is going to play. And of course, the idea was like, "Sir, get out of the shot." It's like, "No, please don't, leave it, leave him." And somewhat just like it's happening now, somehow it actually brought this wonderful life to the piece. And the guy sort of turned away just the right way, so we didn't need to get his release, because you never see his face. And in the credits, he is just the man in the yellow jacket. The man in the yellow jacket as the character, and the man in the yellow jacket.
And you don't know who he is? You don't know who he is?
I don't know. I
That's
don't know
amazing.
his name. I don't know who it is.
I love that.
mean, you don't never see his face. It's just, I guess we should have ran, but it's one of those things. I mean, in retrospect, and actually happens a lot on Amazing Race, and that's the most difficult part. Is you have to have a release from every single person you speak to, right? And it's two of us. It's like me and a sound person, and then you film something wonderful. Somebody walking into the frame, just like this guy for the 27th time is about to walk through our frame. Sort of wander around and wander back. It's amazing. So we would need to get this.
Call him over here. Let's talk to him.
Let's talk to him.
Now I'm fascinated. What is he doing?
Hilarious. So you need to get their release, and the world is this amazing place, and you're seeing this amazing thing happen, and you may shoot it, but you have to get a release in a way where you don't slow down your team. So hopefully your team is asking the question of the most interesting person on the street, and they're asking for the direction, and we're getting the release after that. But yeah, that can get really hard, or not really hard, but it's like making sure that you when you film it in the most interesting way, but you also you need to get everybody's release. So
Again,
I will ask this man to
get a release.
Get his release.
Get a release. He's going to end up in your Emmy video.
Apparently, yeah.
You also, because you're by yourself, like you have to get the release from the people.
Yeah, the sound person usually does that. Yeah,
you should be getting a producing credit on these shows. Do you ever do you stay in touch with these people because you're embedded and going through this intense experience with these couples? No.
No, not really, because I mean, it's all, it has to be all very fair. So we don't, we switch around during the season. It's not like I'm
Mhm.
with one couple the entire season. We on different episodes, we're with different people. And that's by design. It's to make sure nobody gets too friendly. It's to make sure that they can never say like, oh, my camera was slower or faster or whatever it was. I like them better. No, and I'm pretty careful. Like I don't exchange information with people, maybe a couple times over the 28 season, but no, you don't. You don't share you don't become best buddies when
Right.
you talk about the things that are normal and necessary and good, and you're friendly. Obviously, you have to maintain a relationship with them to make sure that they're open to talking and to you filming them, but no, you're not becoming best friends with anyone because that wouldn't be fair.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah,
That's smart. Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
did you notice? Just a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go. Also, it's almost 10 o'clock here, so
Yeah. Oh yeah. Is it?
yeah,
Oh yeah. That means I'll
it's
have
almost
to
10
pack
here.
my
Which
bags and run. Yeah.
oh,
This
okay.
guy, I think he's just getting his steps, to be honest.
Is
But yeah,
he?
I would love to
He's
talk a little
slowly
more
getting
about this.
closer. He's slowly getting closer each
Yeah.
time. Wait,
Yeah.
there's a question that lays back to AFI. Do you remember, like, you went to AFI and then eventually you went back to doing Amazing Race? The way you shot Amazing Race, did it change the way you look at how you captured images after going through AFI?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and this would be actually the conversation that I'd love to have, and maybe we can pick it up. But it's like, so I did do a whole bunch of TV stuff. I never went to school in my 20s. I never went to undergrad, as you know. So any
Oh yeah,
discussion.
I do know. That's right.
Uh, and I just learned from experience, from assisting, and from being with really good people, and learning on the go, and being a camera person for documentaries mostly, and that's different TV shows, and that's also when Amazing Race came up, and I started doing a lot of National Geographic and kind of adventure stuff, and then I worked a lot with Bobby Flay, and somewhere along these sort of my path of documentaries, when I was in my early 30s, I was like, oh, I would like to make movies. And I made a documentary called Blindside that won the Audience Award in Berlin and beat out all the feature films, and everybody was very excited. And then that film also got into AFI Fest and I'm pretty sure it won the Audience Award there as well. And then I was like, oh, what is this AFI thing? I didn't know what it was, So, but it was like AFI this and AFI that, in during the festival. And I was always itching to be like, I would like to go to school because I never did. And what else would I go to school for than for cinematography? So when I realized what AFI was, and when I realized what the conservatory was, and also with my sort of beginning desire of trying to shoot features or fiction, it seemed like a perfect fit. So I applied um, 3 months after the deadline to AFI. Never heard back because I think they
Because you were so late.
probably
Yeah.
threw it into trash. I was like, "Who is this person?" But next year I did it again, and then I got in, and I was like, actually completely torn and shocked. It was like, oh my god, now I have to actually change everything that I worked for the last 15 years, and quit and move to LA and start like this whole new journey. Um, and I couldn't work for 2 years. I did manage to sneak away for Amazing Race a couple of times. Um, and then really started to, and actually at AFI, a lot of people were like, oh, I want you to go and run around and shoot handheld. And, like my director, Joel Noah, was like, oh, just do it kind of like you do Amazing Race. And I was like, I made a point of um, shooting things in completely different way than what Amazing Race is, and much more cinematic. And my thesis, First in Flight, when I spoke to Stephen Lighthill, he was like, you should do something that will show that you can do all the stuff that people don't think you can do just because you're coming from documentaries and from reality. And so I made First in Flight with Brendan as cinematic as we possibly could. And I think if you watch it, it does look like a real like cinematic movie.
Looks like a Spielberg
Um,
movie. Yeah.
it does well because
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's part of Brendan, his love of Spielberg and all of that. But certainly that was the aim, to sort of show people, no, I can do a lot more than just to put a camera and run around the world. Um, and yeah, I think, I mean, AFI was, to me, was a life changing, creatively changing experience in a way. It's you know, I was somebody who was shooting from experience and through a lot of instinct, and you know, getting the story and being able to sort of capture what was in front of me. But then by going to AFI, I realized there's a whole world of visual storytelling, and that I can explore and actually design all the things that I was doing. And you know, some of the things I was doing were not incorrect. I mean, I was, you know, still shooting good and interesting things. But at AFI, I learned how to photograph emotions and how to connect to characters and all the reasons behind them. And yeah, it's made me a very different cinematographer than I was before, you know, using all the tools we have as cinematographers, you know, whether it's light or depth of field or lenses, movement of camera, movement of actors, space, texture, and you know, color and all of those things. And actually like going to the canvas, the blank canvas, and designing what the script or the movie is going to look like. And certainly have brought that to documentaries as well, and maybe to an extent to Amazing Race. I mean, you know, it's a little hard to start talking about um, you know, space and texture when you have a heavy camera on your shoulder and it's 100 degrees and you're sweating and the people are running away from you. So it's still
Right.
going to be a similar shot. But you know, there is definitely things you can do. You know, there's definitely things you can do when things slow down a little bit, and about how you approach telling the story. But you know, to me, the all of whatever you're filming, it's about storytelling. And you know, if I feel like the audience walks away with feeling the emotion that I was privileged to experience in that moment, then however you get to that, you have done a good job. You know, I think cinematography is not about calling attention to how cool or beautiful or interesting shots you have done. I think it's about photographing emotions and photographing the relationships between the characters in your film, whether it's people with nature, whether it's people with a place, or whatever it is. You know, I think all of those things are so much more interesting than just cool, beautiful shots.
That's very well said, and a perfect note to end
Yeah,
on, because you have to get to
yeah.
the airport.
I have to
And
get to the airport. Yeah, but yeah, I would love to.
that
You
was
know, I
awesome.
mean, I guess, you know, I've sort of, you know, I think people view reality, and you know, look, I only do Amazing Race. I don't do any other reality,
Yeah.
and it's for a reason. You know, I love the show. I love traveling. I love the world. I love showing people the world, and how wonderful it is. And I love the freedom we have as the storytellers when we run, you know, when we run with
Yeah.
our teams. Um, but you know, there's a real skill involved, and you know, I think all of the camera operators, cinematographers, storytellers that I've been with over the years on Amazing Race, I mean, every single one is an amazing crafts person and a storyteller. Um, and you know, I do connect it to my fiction work. I connect the, you know, what I see and how fast things happen, um, and how real they are. I am able to bring that to the world of like, okay, now I have time, now I have crew, now we have lights, now we can make it happen. And I feel like sometimes you can get bogged into that because you have too much time and too much crew and too many choices and all of that. And sometimes the simply a solution is the best solution, and it's right there in front of you. And so, you know, there's a combination of the two worlds that I think can function together in a really cool way.
Well, it's a testament to what you just said. The way you do it is the fact that you keep getting Emmy nominated. It's being celebrated, right? There's a lot of quote reality shows out there. There's only one Amazing Race, and it's you know, I think it's because of the way you and your colleagues are telling the story. So
yeah, and it's changed. I mean, it is involved. You know, we're using drones much more now. We have cranes, we have time lapses, we have all the things that you didn't have 20 years ago. But still, the core is those two people on a journey, and you're telling that story. And that's still the most important part.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thanks for sharing all that. Get home safe. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks for doing this.
Cheers.
Man. Yeah.
Hello from Mumbai. Hopefully I'll make my flight. It stopped raining. I'm going to run and pack my bag.
Thank you for tuning into the After Film School podcast. If you're interested in supporting the show, please reach out to us. For more information and to join the conversation, visit our group Telegram channel, After Film School Podcast, where you can ask follow-up questions and engage with our community. The link is in the description. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at After Film School Podcast. We truly appreciate your support and look forward to connecting with you again soon. With gratitude, the After Film School Podcast team, Chris and Renee.